Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. In news that was incredibly popular, and then there's also other news that is attached to this news that was also very popular, and for whatever reason, in the air, continues to be popularer as the days end up going on. Cardano founder, his name is Charles Hoskinson, has reacted to recent data from CoinMarketCap, referring to ADA, the cryptocurrency, as the biggest loser. I'm sure you can see exactly where this is going to go. In a tweet, Hoskinson shared a screenshot of CoinMarketCap data highlighting the top 10 crypto assets by market capitalization. As per the data, ADA was ranked as the biggest loser over the past 24 hours, which we're going to get into in a second, following a price decline of roughly around 1.58%, depending on when the actual snapshot of the time of the data was actually taken. Interestingly, Hoskinson drew attention to the fact that ADA was not supposed to be the biggest loser on the chart based on that metric. According to the data, Solana, which ranked ahead of ADA in terms of market valuation, was down by around 3.91%. Reacting, Hoskinson questioned the mistake in the data, as he believes 3.91% is a higher number than 1.58. He wrote on Twitter, Jenny, he said to whoever Jenny might be, Jenny, I'm not a bright man, but isn't 3.91 larger than 1.58? I don't know what biggest loser means, Hoskinson noted, and here's the tweet for it right here, showing some of the other coins that also went down in price, and therefore he wanted an explanation. At this point, a lot of other people on Twitter also began to chime in, and they went, hey, he's definitely correct. How could it be that Cardano is the biggest loser comparative to Solana or even XRP, who went down by 1.86 while we're only down by 1.58? It clearly has to be Solana. And everyone began to fight online and have really crazy conversations and proclaim that something must have been wrong with CoinMarketCap, which is actually a very, very old conversation that people have been having since roughly around 2017. For those of you who were not here, I think there was a point, I believe there was a point where CoinMarketCap, I think, wasn't listing XRP on their findings. And then at some point they were calculating with the entire supply as opposed to just a circulating supply, which a lot of other like pre-mined coins do. Like you do like with the circulating supply of ADA as opposed to like anything else that might be in a warehouse. Whatever, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it appears that someone mentioned it might be that Cardano actually is the biggest loser over the course of 24 hours based on where its previous status of rankings was within the top 20 cryptocurrencies. And it looks like that might have fallen the biggest comparative to other coins, whatever. Hoskinson went over that and said, no, it has to do with the numbers and everyone out there hates ADA. I don't understand what's going on, which led to one big other gigantic fight and people believing that there's some kind of conspiracy going on specifically against Cardano, because why would that make sense? It doesn't. Why would we be singling out I'm gonna try and be nice here, so I think I'll just move on from that sentence. The point is, yes, on CoinMarketCap there was a section. I'm not sure why people bother themselves with looking through cryptocurrency price rankings, looking for trouble, and then making sure that they tell everyone else, hey, this doesn't look right, as opposed to looking into actual data as to what the 24 hours or 7-day or 1 month movement chart might actually mean. Like I said, there's more tying directly into this because Charles Hoskinson seems to be a bit of a wizard in making sure that not only does he say something crypto controversial nearly every single day, he kind of makes sure that his hand is in every bucket, basket, jar, all over the place. For those of you who missed it, this was a news story from like 3 weeks ago that is now like resurfacing all over again. Ripple's CTO has slammed, sure, why not, Charles Hoskinson over SEC's ETH favoritism. The Ripple community and Cardano's founder have clashed over the definition of corruption in the context of the ETHgate scandal. To give you the quick round picture, years ago, the people from Ripple got a lawsuit on the last day of the former SEC's head in office. His last day, he decided to make a lawsuit against Ripple. It's some type of corruption was happening on there. You would do it in 2017, not, Christmas 2020. It appears that back then someone came forward and said that Bitcoin was not a security, and then the next day they said Ether is not a security, and then they stopped. They didn't do any of the other top 100 coins. We assumed that they were going to go in order, but they did not. Back then, XRP was the number 3 coin, so we assumed that we'd have some type of regulatory clarity in some sort of way. Someone comes forward, stands at a podium and says XRP is a security. Or in another universe, someone stands there and says XRP is also not a security. The next day they move to the 4th coin. They say yay or nay. That's the general idea. So people began to speculate and have been speculating for a while that there might have been some type of favoritism and or corruzione behind the scenes, because why would you just stop at the 2nd coin? So people within the Ripple community have been discussing this for a number of years now, and then it kind of leaked into Charles Hoskinson's cup because he wanted it to, where about a month ago he said that everyone in the XRP community was completely insane because why would anything like that make any sense? And then like a day or two later, he came forward and was like, oh yeah, there's definitely corruption in the SEC. Oh, I've definitely heard of like secret meetings. Oh, I've definitely heard of people being paid off. So everything he said the day before, calling everyone who owns XRP completely insane, the next day he was like, oh yeah, but 99% of that stuff does happen, but the people in XRP are wrong. And then that kind of dragged on to where we currently are now, because people are like asking him, does he know something? The idea being, one would not have news or information about favoritism and or corruption and or secret meetings and or institutional money moving around without being privy to it yourself. Like I cannot tell you where these 5 stores are in my city unless I know where these 5 stores. I must have been there at some point before. That's the general idea. So this clash of nonsense is still also going on, as far as they're calling it ETHgate. I mean, I don't know. And I'll say this in the nicest way possible. I kind of just want everyone to just let this go, like the entire idea of it. And that's simply because you're only going to cause yourself more pain. You're all fighting on Twitter about something that you will never find out the answer to. None of you will probably ever work for the SEC or the CFTC. Or if you did, it would be like 15, 20 years in the future when you got the credentials to be able to work for them, being lucky enough to be chosen to actually go into that office, to be able to dig through those files or the information to find out about it. But at that point, it's 20 years in the future. You release information that the SEC lied back in good old 2017, and no one bats an eye because they're like, that was like 9,000 years ago. So everyone's fighting over something that can't be clarified, that can't be, found out. And it's just like complete nonsense right now as far as like getting everyone's blood pressure up. It says Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson has refuted claims of abandoned projects. Keeping in mind, this is all within the same like couple of days. This isn't like weeks or months or years apart. That's what I was saying before. This guy has a really good je ne sais quoi about making sure that he's in the news every single gosh darn day about something like dramatic and he's defending something or he's screaming at someone So basically, Cardano, for those of you who were not here, I know I say that often, we've gone over that, but the past is a very strong thing in the cryptocurrency space. Years ago when Cardano got started, one of the major aspects of Cardano was that they, much like EOS, continuously promised that they were going to have updates and upgrades and new coins and side chains and projects, and this was going to happen on this date and that was going to happen. Years ago, Cardano used to have a lot more, like events. So they would have an event somewhere in France. They would have an event somewhere in Slovenia. There was an event somewhere in Canada, and they would go there. And Charles Hoskinson would stand on stage and he would say, "You have no idea what's coming. We have a brand new update, a brand new upgrade, a brand new so-and-so." This was when they would actually release all this information. And then subsequently, over the course of a 2.5, 3-year period, we would see none of those updates and or upgrades, usually until we got near the next Bitcoin halving. Everyone saw prices moving. And this is normally when Cardano would then release the news of everything happening. If you were here since 2019, you remember quite well me making fun of Cardano. For reference, I do own ADA and have been owning it for a couple of years. But there's also this really weird, we have it running on the test net. So they're like, cool, we have an upgrade coming. It's now on the test net. Test net on many other chains typically means we are testing it and then it's going to be rolled out to the public. For Cardano, they have a yellow test net, they have a purple test net, they have a green test net, they have a blue test net, they have a white test net, they have a purple layer 2 test net, and it kind of goes on for a long time until the price of ADA drops down, and then they go, hey, we got the upgrade, and then the price goes back up by 8, 9, 10%, and everyone's like, see, I told you the upgrade was coming, and I was like, I didn't say the upgrade wasn't coming, but you can't have 15 different test nets over the course of, haven't been to the ADA website in 95 years. They used to also have an actual timeline that showed when things were going to happen. Literally, this will happen Q1 2017, this will happen Q2 2020, that kind of thing. But I assume they've deleted it and or scrubbed over it because nothing ever happened when it was going to. On that note, a lot of people have now come forward because, once again, the past is a very strong thing within the cryptocurrency space. And a lot of people are looking through the old, allegedly, the old projects that were supposed to have been launched on Cardano, on-chain, layer 2, partnerships, that whole kind of thing. And apparently a large portion of them never came to fruition, never ended up happening. I don't want to say to be fair. Typically within the cryptocurrency space, when announcements are made, and this is why I think we see far less announcements about things that are going to happen simply because of things like this. We used to get the same exact thing or similar for Ethereum, not so much XRP. XRP was more like the usage that it would have. It was definitely there for EOS. It was definitely there for Tron, who is garbage. No one's using that thing at all. They used to simply come out and say in February, hey, we have big news in March. And then March would roll around and they go, oh, no, we meant the end of March. And then the end of March would come and they would go, middle of April, we got something big for you. And it was this constant drag on until eventually they would announce that they had partnered, or rather they were using Amazon Web Services, or they had a planned trip to this country to go meet someone. They took a photo, had a handshake. The coin was never used by anyone in that kind of region. It was a major thing, and a lot of people lost a lot of trust in major projects simply because it was okay, Cardano has managed to hang on because people are using Cardano, not as much as Bitcoin or Ether. And I dare say not as much as XRP, because I'm pretty sure there's a difference between being used by like 15 different companies and working with 12 central banks and also another 18 central banks who you've signed non-disclosure agreements. We can just use those metrics as more. Anyway, this is a very deep story, but I don't want to spend all my time on this. Yes, Hoskinson is now defending, talking about there were so many other things that were happening on the Cardano blockchain and system that never ended up happening. And now he's trying to defend, talking about, no, these were just things that we were talking about, or that we were mulling over, that were never going to actually happen. That whole kind of thing. Also in the news, it says Charles Hoskinson has said Ethereum developers admit they need to copy Cardano. Yes. So apparently Charles Hoskinson, I told you this, it's amazing. Like you make sure you are in the news every single day. Has basically announced that he sees or has said that it appears that people in Ethereum are only trying to copy Cardano because Cardano is the best cryptocurrency project that's out there. And therefore they would want to only copy the best. And therefore, as a result of this, people within the cryptocurrency Cardano space are talking about plagiarism and a bunch of other stuff. For those of you who don't know, Vitalik Buterin used to work for people who were basically managing Bitcoin's code in the early days. He had ideas for how to change the code and ended up kind of breaking away and made his own code and made his own coin around 2015, I think, and he called it Ethereum. One of the very first people to work on the Ethereum project was Charles Hoskinson. At some point, the story goes, Charles Hoskinson decided he wanted to make his own coin. He wanted to have a different direction for everything that was going. Charles Hoskinson broke away from the Ethereum project and made Cardano. This happens all the time. It's a very common thing. This is what I told you all before. They all know each other. This is not, they're not like, oh my gosh, who are you? They've all known each other. They all used to work at Yahoo. They all used to work at Google in the early 2000s, etc., etc. So the idea that behind the scenes there's some nefarious figure in the dark who's like copy and pasting stuff from Cardano and using it on Ethereum, it's like a fever dream. I don't know where people even got that idea from, or how anyone was brave enough to even say those words out loud, that someone from Ethereum has been copying Cardano. I don't know what's going on in a lot of reality. Also in the news, for those of you not looking at the screen, Charles Hoskinson has made sure that everyone knows exactly how he feels about Sam Bankman-Fried. I don't get it. Just take away his Twitter, take away his phone. I'm not even joking. I don't get things like this. Have such a negative impact on the actual value of the project and of the coin. If you make sure that every single day you are in the news, talking down to people, screaming at people, calling an entire group of people crazy or insane over and over and over, eventually people leave your project. It's literally not rocket science, because people used to do this before in the cryptocurrency space. I don't know why people thought or think that there needs to be a constant Biggie Tupac kind of thing happening within the cryptocurrency space in order to get attention for your coin. No, people leave those projects. You lose a lot of your value prospect when people just see that you're screaming and throwing your arms into the air all the time. Nobody will want to do business with you. So if you've been paying attention, because I haven't, I only know because I have to look at the news. The entire Sam Bankman-Fried, Alameda, FTX, Genesis, Sam Bankman-Fried's girlfriend news has been in the news so much, it's absolutely sickening. His ex-girlfriend's talking about he wanted to go to China, or he was trying to bribe someone, or he was buying cookies, and she's crying, talking about, I knew I wasn't doing a good job. And it's girl, what are you doing? Just get off the stage. This is so dramatic for no reason. Apparently there was a news article where someone was showing Sam Bankman-Fried being sad. I think we can all agree in this situation, we would all be sad if we were in his shoes. Just completely logical. We probably would not be happy. And then Charles Hoskinson was like, oh, why are they showing him sad? He's a monster. And it's they can still show a person being sad when they're sad because of the entire thing that's going on. Do you want a photo of him sitting there eating potato chips and smiling, or laughing at the judge and standing up and pointing. There was also an article before, we went over that one, where Sam Bankman-Fried got a haircut and people were upset that he got a haircut. And it was like, whoa, everyone needs to calm the fudge down. So yeah, Charles Hoskinson went on a bit of a rant talking about that no one should be talking about how sad Sam Bankman-Fried is, or trying to portray him as like a hero or a martyr. It's like, dude, we get it. We get that he's evil. It's been shoved down our throats so long. Like, we totally understand that he's evil. But there are just going to be people who do take photos and have like an expression of like what is going on in their own view. So anyway, yeah, that's some, that is SOME of the Charles Hoskinson news. Because there was a lot. There was actually a lot more, and some of it was like lightly embarrassing. So I thought of just not having it in here. But this is like the more spoken about stuff that's currently going on. So, woo, doggy, yeah. That's the Cardano Charles Hoskinson news. I can't remember going over daily news the last time that we had news about a Cardano partnership. That's not a joke. The news over the last 2 years consistently has been about Charles Hoskinson kind of screaming at people in controversial situations. I don't remember the last successful update news, layer 2, you kind of name it. The last thing I remember was like something about coins burning. Does Cardano have a coin burn now? I think that was like before summertime. But nothing as far as partnerships or like usage or like adoption. And I assume it's because billionaires tend to look at the news over the project that they're trying to, look at or get into. So that's the Cardano news as far as we have right now. And yeah, let's move on. In news that people desperately, there's so much desperation, desperately tried to make news. Ethereum's recent supply has risen. So for those of you who you should all remember, Ethereum is no longer proof of work with the tens of thousands of machines. It is now proof of stake. You are able to mine Ether directly on your computer or through a mining pool if you do not have the minimum 32 Ether. As all coins have dropped in price, market sentiment has waned. And as we have seen that there's not a lot of movement in our markets and trading, etc., all coins have dropped in price. Subsequently, there's also far less market activity, especially things happening on chain. The way that Ether works is that the more that it's used or moved or transactionally, the more the Ether gets burned in the background. So the more transactions there are during a bull run, the more Ether that gets burned, the coin supply becomes deflationary. You need movement on the network, massive amounts of movement, for that to be a thing. As we have seen all coins dropping in price and network activity decreasing across all chains, we can only logically assume it's also happening on Ether as well. As there hasn't been as much activity on the Ethereum blockchain, the amount of Ether that was being burned is now less. As it is less, there has now been Ether that has been created that has actually caused the supply to become inflationary. Now, for context, Ether's market cap, the amount of Ether out there relative to its US dollar price, is in the hundreds of billions. Billions. Everyone understands that number? Billions with the B? So apparently there has now been an increase in the Ether supply of $47 million. That is 47 million. not 470 million, not 470 billion, not 4.5 billion, not even a fraction of $1 billion. And a lot of people, like I said, were trying to make this news because they have nothing better to do with their time, and it's better to make it seem like a coin that they don't have is, oh, something's wrong with Ether now because it's it says it has raised concerns among crypto enthusiasts. It hasn't. The only people who cared about it were the 5 different articles that were written about the same exact thing. As over $47 million worth of Ether tokens were added to circulation within the last 30 days. $47 million, not tens and hundreds of billions. The development comes as a surprise to many, who expected the transition of proof of stake last year to make ETH a deflationary asset. The problem that I have is that there's so many new people, such an egregious amount of new people in the market. When I say do your own research, it's not like look at an article for 2 minutes and then kind of walk away. I don't understand how you can have your money in any of these coins and you don't learn about them. You hear proof of stake and you understand that it's not millions of, learn what proof of stake is. Learn why it is. Learn the history and the fights that people used to have about on-chain activity and how they wanted to upgrade Bitcoin on-chain and how that swapped people from being like, hey, we can't all have 10,000 computers. There has to be another way. Let's create something called proof of stake so that everyone can mine their coins. When you hear that Ethereum is going to be proof of stake and it's going to be a deflationary asset, there were hundreds of articles that were written by developers, by coders, who explained explicitly you need huge amounts of network activity as there will be no longer people mining it with machines in order to keep the Ethereum network safe. This huge amount of network activity and validators and nodes will also allow the Ethereum supply to also burn. If there's less activity, there will be less burn. If there's so much little activity, at some point we will become inflationary again. This is also like a 0.01 inflation rate, just for all of you to keep that actually in mind. But my problem lies in that the amount of new people who get into this market and don't know a gosh darn thing. You have the opportunity to educate yourself, and that goes across the board. I do not know everything. I continue to try to educate myself more and more every day so that I can constantly bring you real news and let you understand what is and is not actually important so that we're not both reading this and going, oh my gosh, wait, that raised concerns? 47 million? Is Ethereum going to zero tomorrow? There's a reason why I'm not a sensational channel. It's because I educate myself on the space, unlike the other new YouTubers who sit there and tell you, yeah, man, this chart shows Cardano's going up to $9,000 tomorrow. And it's just uttering complete nonsense. The new people in the space, a lot of them, I'm going to say this as nice as possible. I've noticed a rapid decline in the way that articles are written within the cryptocurrency space. It is abundantly clear to me that a lot of the people who are now writing for cryptocurrency websites either did not graduate a higher level of anything, and or had never learned how to write properly. And I'm trying to say that as nice as possible, but and also this really weird, people writing articles and making sure that oh boy, this is, we all expected Ether to do this. No, you all should have known what was going to happen because we received this information thousands of times. Do you know why we have a Bitcoin Cash and a Bitcoin Cash Satoshi's vision? Do you know why Bitcoin isn't being upgraded on chain? Do any of you know why there's an Ethereum Classic? And that Ethereum Classic was the original Ethereum? That's why it's called Classic. It is necessary on a constant basis to educate yourself about everything that you are doing every single day in the world around you. I am constantly surprised at how many. Anyway, the point is, this was very popularly unpopular news with people talking about, well, Ethereum's going down because it's now inflationary. There's no way that they can recover. Something's wrong with the network. And then we're going to have these same exact people being forced to write articles. Ethereum's at $2,800, which is weird, despite the fact that it was inflationary a couple of months ago. What happened to the network? Is there some type of thing going on? Is it SEC favoritism? The word exhaustion does not properly explain my mind when dealing with this space and going over the in-house fighting that we had within the cryptocurrency space years ago. Like, actually meant something. It was like, and I lightly, it was like philosophical as far as like blockchains. Bitcoin is slow. We can make it faster. We do not want to make it faster because it will lead to less decentralization. Fine, I will make my own chain and I will have my own things on top of it. There was no weird fighting about like who did this and who said that, and we have projects and you don't have this and this is happening over this and Sam Bankman-Fried and blah, 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 blah. It's all incredibly odd. Everything that's happening now is very, very weird. I don't care for it. I hope at some point we get back to a normal set of news. It could be because of the current outlook of the cryptocurrency market and space, and because of what the SEC is doing. There's a lot of internal fighting or people, but you can't logically be a writer for the cryptocurrency space and not know how Ethereum works. You can't just write articles. You should be ashamed of hiring people who don't even know how to write articles and also know nothing about the cryptocurrency space. The amount of articles that I keep seeing that have like a positive spin and outlook on the fact that Russia and China are making and have a central bank digital currency and are essentially, what's the word for it? Forcing people to use it is absolutely insane. The amount of news that popped up today, I don't have it in here and I will never have it here, that was talking about JP Morgan is trying to get their JP Morgan coin used once again by banks and all this other stuff. And like, but that was spun positively as well as I was reading through the article, multiple articles who were all talking about, well, like, you know, if JP Morgan has a blockchain, they know what blockchain is, which then leads us to the fact that they might at some point also begin accepting Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is huge for the space. What? Did you just get to Earth? Like, did you just land here? Do you know how these companies and these banks work? They don't care about humans. They care about themselves and their bottom line. Like, what? What are you talking about? It's so... Oh boy. I do hope that you all take the time out of your day to learn something, to read something. 20 minutes. It's not going to hurt you, I promise. Like, your brain will actually do better afterwards. You will have learned something. You will have created new connections within your brain that will make it stronger as you get older. Learn about the space. Even if you only have 3, 4, 5 favorite coins, I don't care if you don't like XRP. I don't care if you don't like Bitcoin. I don't care if you don't like Ether. If you like Dogecoin, Cardano, Chainlink, Rapid Coin, is that a thing? I don't know. And some other thing, learn about them. Learn about their systems internally, who runs them, why they run them. Learn what proof of stake is. Learn what proof of work is. Learn the crypto politics behind them. Learn. It behooves you. You have your money in these coins, in these projects. You go to work every single day to dump your money into these coins that you have no idea what they do. You have no idea how they function. It makes no sense. Even when you invest in stocks, you read about the company beforehand. You know, Apple has been doing X, Y, and Z over the course of the last 15 years. The price projections for the future are this. You learn who the CEO is. You learn why they've been made CEO. You do the same exact thing for real estate. Do you walk into a house and this house looks terrible. I'll give you $1 million for it. No, you have an inspector come. Are there termites? Can I walk on the floor? Are there holes in the roof? Will I be freezing? Does this have proper insulation? When was the last time this house was fixed? 1955? Okay, cool. Why do it for crypto? Why just throw your money at any project? Learn. I hope that you have all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be on this very weird planet. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.